Hello, I am Francis, and I will be taking you through this presentation on the Ukrainian industry and trade profile. This presentation is intended to give you two general pictures. The first is to give you a feel for Ukraine's overall economic situation, the size of its economy, and how it is being affected by the war with Russia. The second is to describe the nature of Ukraine's international trading profile in general and with the UK in particular. Clearly, this will not result in giving anyone leads for specific trading opportunities. However, it is hoped that it will show the listener that the Ukrainian economy is withstanding Russian aggression, that it is resilient, and that it can and is continuing to trade. The presentation will cover the following: a macroeconomic overview of the Ukrainian economy, the negative indicators of the war with Russia, the overall Ukrainian trade figures, Ukraine's imports from the UK, Ukraine's exports to the UK, Ukraine's strengths, government support for specific industrial sectors, specific reference to the IT and high-tech sector, some overall conclusions as to the state of the Ukrainian economy. There is no hiding the fact that the war with Russia is having a profound impact on the Ukrainian economy. If we look at the figures shown on this slide, the first thing to note is the fall in population. In 2021, before the attack, the Ukrainian population stood as just over 44 million people. In 2023, this has fallen to 37.7 million, representing a loss of just over 6.5 million. That's over 17% of its pre-war population, the majority of whom are women and children. Males between the ages of 18 and 60 are not allowed to leave Ukraine without special permission. The loss of men to Russian violence has been a state secret. However, recently, the president did say that 47,000 Ukrainian soldiers have been killed. No figures have been released with regard to the numbers of soldiers who have been severely wounded, but it will undoubtedly be a multiple of the numbers that have been killed. It should also be noted that the average age of a Ukrainian soldier is 43. These older men have been killed and injured in order to save the younger generation. However, the social and psychological impact on all Ukrainians of all ages will be there for generations. Ukraine has also lost about 20% of its territory and suffered major damage to its infrastructure in the unoccupied areas. Notwithstanding this drop in population, loss of territory, and damage to its infrastructure, it is significant that the Ukrainian economy has been so resilient. Overall, the economy has absorbed the shock of war and remained relatively stable. A key factor in this economic stability has been the Ukrainian success in keeping its sea routes open, allowing for the export of its commodities, especially agricultural products. Furthermore, although all air cargo has stopped, despite occasional problems, the land routes by rail and road have also been kept open. Thanks to Western financial support, the country's financial reserves have been maintained, which means that Ukraine continues to be able to pay for its imports, and initial controls on foreign currency payments have been significantly eased. Nonetheless, there are understandably negative economic indicators, as we will see in the following slides. In addition to the fall in population and the relative GDP pro capita stability, poverty has increased significantly, affecting an additional 1.8 million people. Agricultural output has fallen due to the loss of territory and a subsequent smaller harvest. There is a persistent labor shortage due to the demands of the military and the exodus of so many working women. But we see that Ukraine remains resilient, and financial support continues to be provided by Western governments and international institutions such as the World Bank and the IMF. This support has been critical in helping the Ukrainian government maintain public services, as well as financing much-needed imports. In the next 3 slides, we will look at Ukraine's foreign trade in goods. Here we see the significant impact that the war has had. The value of exported shows a fall of USD 28.4 billion or 45% between 2021 and 2023. Imports show a much smaller fall. This is to be expected given Ukraine's needs during the war. This trade has been financed by Western aid, including grants from interest on Russian financial assets frozen by the West. These figures, more than any others, demonstrate how much the Ukrainian economy depends upon Western financial support, as well as the continuing supply of weapons to defend itself. In the next two slides, we will have a quick look at the main goods that are exported and imported. Ukraine's imports, excluding services from the UK, are mainly industrial with some food and drink, pharmaceuticals, and textiles. Ukraine's exports to the UK largely reflect Ukraine's overall exported goods profile, with heavy machinery, metals, and agricultural products dominating. Ukraine's economic strengths have and are rooted in the following sectors: agricultural and food processing. Ukraine is known as the breadbasket of Europe due to its fertile soils, extensive arable land, and long-established agricultural traditions. The combination of cost-competitive production, improving logistics infrastructure, and rising compliance with European and global standards makes Ukrainian agri-food products highly sought after in numerous international markets. Metallurgy, steel, and mining. Ukraine's abundant natural resources, iron ore, coal, and manganese, and long-standing industrial base have supported a strong metals and mining sector. Ukrainian steel and metals remain competitive, particularly in price-sensitive markets. The sector is adapting to meet international quality standards, increasingly producing semi-finished and value-added products for European and Asian buyers. Machinery and aerospace. Ukraine has a historical legacy in aerospace and heavy machinery manufacturing. The engineering expertise, R&D capabilities, and a well-established ecosystem support complex industrial outputs. Although not as large as agricultural or metallurgical sectors, niche aerospace products, turbine and engine components, and heavy machinery have found markets internationally due to their technical sophistication and competitive costs. As will be shown in the following slides, the Ukrainian government provides support to favored sectors. The Ukrainian government provides financial incentives for the following industry sectors: agriculture and food processing. The government provides soft loans and export facilitation measures, and is keen to attract foreign investment. Energy efficiency, renewables, and green transition. Ukraine's commitment to the European Green Deal and other international sustainability pledges has driven state support for renewable energy projects. Defense and dual-use technologies. In light of ongoing security challenges, the government supports the defense industry and related R&D. Funding, procurement contracts, and partnerships with Western defense firms help this sector modernize and scale innovation. IT and high-tech startups. Although the IT sector's growth has largely been market-driven, the government is now introducing frameworks to support its expansion. Whereas we have concentrated on looking at goods in the previous slides, the next slide looks at the advantages of Ukraine's IT sector. Advantages of the IT sector. Highly skilled workforce. Ukraine boasts a large pool of well-educated IT professionals with strong technical expertise. Ukrainian universities traditionally emphasize STEM education, producing engineers, developers, and data scientists who are competitive in global talent markets. Cost competitiveness and value for money. The IT sector in Ukraine provides high-quality services at comparatively lower costs than Western Europe or North America. This price-to-quality ratio makes Ukrainian software development, outsourcing, and IT consulting very attractive to foreign clients. Cultural and geographical proximity to Europe. Located at the doorstep of the EU, Ukraine's IT companies operate within a familiar business culture and time zone proximity that facilitates collaboration with European partners. Many IT professionals speak English and other European languages, easing communication barriers and project management. Growing innovation ecosystem and legal reforms. A rising number of tech hubs, accelerators, and venture capital funds are fostering entrepreneurship and product innovation. The DIA City initiative aims to create a special legal and tax environment that will enhance investor confidence, protect IP rights, and streamline business operations for startups and established IT firms. You will hear in later presentations about the development of legal reforms to promote the digitalization of the Ukrainian economy, as well as its ongoing harmonization of its laws with the EU. Ukraine's direction is clear: harmonization with EU legislation and practices. In the next slide, we'll make some final conclusions. The key conclusion is that despite the undoubted negative impact of the war with Russia, the Ukrainian economy, supported by the West, is resilient. With regard to the Ukraine's economic profile, its strengths lie in its traditional area of agriculture, resource-based industries, sophisticated manufacturing, and now has an increasingly robust IT sector. The government is moving well to support the development of the economy, with financial incentives for the above industries, as well as those dedicated towards renewable energy. There is no doubt that there have been significant developments in the legal environment, supporting integration with the EU, and the development of the digital economy. The overall outlook, once the war with Russia ends, is bright.